5 years ago, I bought this 110-year-old car factory, and in those 5 years, we've been in survival mode the entire time. So I want to make a big change and get us out of survival mode and into thriving mode. And this video is going to be a little different than the ones I usually make. Got a 7 p.m. coffee on a Sunday. There's no camera crew. There's no teleprompter. Not using my little studio that I normally use. It's just you and me and a camera. I want to show you my big plan to fix not only the factory, but also solve a lot of things I think are wrong with YouTube. Do them both at the same time. Let me take you on the roof and show you what's going on up there and what progress we made, and then I'll take you down here and we'll talk through my little plan and see what you think. So this is the west building. This is the oldest of the 5 buildings, and a windstorm came and ripped the roof off of this a few weeks ago. The roof is all sitting down there in the parking lot. Let's walk out here in the fire escape. The roof is sitting all the way down there and over there. That's the artist formerly known as Roof. Now it's there. So we put up some plastic. That didn't work so well. Oh no, the roof pump's in trouble. We have to save the roof pump. Hold on, we're coming, buddy. Oh no, little guy. They have a float in them. They don't like to be upside down. A couple weeks ago, I talked some friends into putting plastic all up in here, so we hauled all these cinder blocks up. We laid out all the 6 mil plastic, and it did effectively nothing. The water got in underneath the plastic. It didn't have enough battening, didn't have enough wood strips to hold everything down, and so the plastic just blew all over the place. Some of the worst damage is over here, though. One of the cinder blocks actually blew off of the roof and went through the skylight. That is about 18, 20 feet down there. That blew clean through that, which is not that good. That's also more of the plastic over there. This is the alley inside of the building. The problem up here is the wind load. So as the wind comes off of the parking lot, it just smacks into the side of the building and it rips anything up and off the roof, which is bad. Also, as the wind travels across the roof, it has a vacuum and it sucks everything up. Any kind of new roof that we put down up here needs to be incredibly well adhered. I tried doing some battens, but they didn't really work because the plastic just ripped out from under the batten. This board is screwed down. It has a cinder block on it. That board's not going anywhere, but the plastic did. So we decided it's time to stop plasticking the roof and trying to do all these little half fixes and just rip the whole thing off. We need to rip all this down to the deck, push it off into a dumpster, and then put a new roof on top. Problem is, that's an extremely expensive proposition, especially when you have this much building. It's 50,000 square feet, which is like a small Walmart. And at the going rate of like $5 to $6 a square foot for a roof to be redone, it's about $300,000. That's not gonna happen. But I do have a couple tricks up my sleeve. I have some materials downstairs and some special tools that we might be able to solve this entire problem with a little bit of your help. This is currently the situation inside of the factory. I'm under where we just were. I was just up there, and now I'm down here. And you can see that we have so many buckets everywhere and the machinery covered up. I somehow convinced those same friends to come back on another Sunday and cover up all the machines and move everything out of here that was in danger. There was a bunch of machinery in here that had wheels on it that we were able to move out. A lot of it got water damaged and is destroyed. The big print lines that were here before, I don't know what kind of shape those are in. They have computers in them. They have a UV drying light. This stuff is all very expensive. Underneath there is the stuff that we could use to save this factory by making products, and I don't know the condition of it. Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm doing great. Just trying to get it over the machine.
I was like, there's something moving in there.
Trying to get all the water to stop running into the machine and run off of the machine. We've got a water bug here from the roof to take it all the way from where we're collecting it.
Omar, how would you describe the situation here?
Just like that.
It's just a bunch of little Dutch boys with their fingers in the dam, plugging the holes.
Yeah.
Trying to plug as many holes as possible.
We went through and we tarped everything. So we made sure that everything here is compatible for the week of rain that is on the way. So we have a chance of saving the stuff if it can dry out and we can keep more water off of it. I just don't want to fire any of it up and find out if it's broken or not. I'm just going to leave that little mystery for later. But they did a really good job. All of this is a giant print line tarp sausage. Underneath there is like $300,000 worth of printing equipment, and we have some of these tarps to keep water off of it. It runs into this drum that is not flammable liquids, it's empty. And so the water drains from the roof down into this tarp and into that barrel, and hopefully we don't exceed the 55 gallons that the barrel can hold. We also have these drying fans that work to dry the floor when the water inevitably comes in here. I want to reiterate, this is a temporary solution. This is not how I want this to be long term. The print lines, they cannot handle any amount of water on them because of all the electronics, but we can't move them. They're super heavy and super long. It took us, I don't know, 2 weeks to move all those in there. The shear over here, the paper shear, I think that thing weighs probably 10,000 pounds. It's solid cast iron. That can't be moved at all. So that has to be protected and covered. We have tarps up above that. It's not the ideal way that I want to do this, but this is the way that you have to do this if you own an old building like this. So how does someone get out of a situation like this without a ton of funds around and gets this place productive and making products again so that it can, be a factory and hire people? I prepared a presentation for you. I'll be using my usual studio to show you what's going on here. This is where I normally sit. Move that out of the way. Here's the big plan. In step 1, stop the emergency. I think we've done a pretty good job of step number 1. We tried the plastic on the roof, it didn't really work, and so then we added the drain tarps and the buckets and stuff inside. We also moved any equipment out that can't get wet that we can move, and so all of that is gone. So the emergency right now is paused a little bit. The problem is that we have a week straight of rain happening right now, and it means we can't do a new roof upstairs. Even if we could pay for it all, you can't do it in the rain. You have to do it in the dry. But I think we've stopped the emergency right now. Things are stabilized. It's pretty okay. So we move on to step 2. Step number 2, decide if we want to do fast and cheap or good and expensive. And over here is where I have that all broken down. Step 1, if we cover what's there, it costs us $0. That's the wrong way to do it. If we remove all of the old material, it's about $7,000. And that is the right move, unfortunately. There's a bunch of saturated material, meaning like soaked with water, underneath that old roof membrane upstairs. It's like maybe half an inch thick, but it's completely soaked. It's completely dry outside right now. There's sun is shining, there's no rain coming down, but it's raining inside of the building because that is completely soaked with water. And so that needs to be ripped off. It's a huge expense, not only because of the dumpsters needed to get rid of it all, but also the labor. There's no easy way to get 3 layers of roof and all that gravel off of the roof, except raw power. But it's the right way to do it. So we have to decide, is that worth the $7,000? I'm curious what your opinions are in the comments, especially if you're an industrial roofer. The next decision we need to make is, do we do no insulation the way it is now, or do we do tapered insulation? What is tapered insulation? Well, I drew that out for you. So the normal way that you would do it is you would just cover over everything. You'd put a new hat on there and have no insulation with the metal ribs. The right way to do it is to do tapered insulation. So the water can drain off of there easily and you have these blocks of insulation. The problem is, it's $12,000 to do that. The right way to do it is to add the insulation, and I have a piece of right here. This is polyisocyanurate. Wow, I nailed it. This is basically foam. And so this is a 2-inch piece. It would come in an 8-inch piece at the peak so that the water drains off and it would taper down, meaning it has like a pitch to it so that the water flies off there instead of just sitting on the roof like it does now. This is actually the only flat part in the entire building. The newer roofs on the newer buildings are all pitched. They actually have a little bit of drain to them instead of this, which is perfectly flat. This is the right stuff though, and just the foam itself is about $12,000 plus the extra install and all the labor. You have to run giant 10-inch screws through that foam into the deck to hold that all together. It's like a sandwich of different sizes. This diagram I made is actually pretty good. So you have these 8-inch pieces here and then some tapered parts on top, and so they build you this whole foam Lego sandwich that you get to make your tapered roof instead of this flat thing that won't drain at all. So that leads me to the third part of the plan, which is maybe the hardest, which is how are we going to pay for it all? So even though paying for all this is probably the hardest part of all of it, aside from installing it, I have a pretty good idea that I think you may or may not sign up for. I have had the guys cut up a bunch of sheets of the old roof. This is the old PVC roof that makes up what's up there right now. And we cut these all into these little coupons, these little slices here. I want to do something so that you get to be a part of this building forever if you help us out. For $5, we will write 30 characters of whatever you want on the roof. PG rules apply. I'm going to have a team of volunteers, myself included, write all of these things onto the insulation that we install on the roof, and your name or your message will be forever emblazoned into the roof of this factory. I'm sure my writing arm is not going to enjoy this plan, but I want to give you a piece of the old building. Obviously, we have lots and lots of old roof, but we're going to do a limited number of these slices, and so you could have a piece of your own mailed to you. If you're a Patreon member, you will also get one of these, and so anyone who has signed up for our paid Patreon subscription will get a slice of the roof mailed to them should you have your mailing address in your Patreon account, which some people don't. So go check if you're signed up. We have a bunch of people signed up. Go give it a look. But I myself will sign these and number them and send them out to you, as many as we have sold, because I want to pay for the right roof on this place. If you'd like to participate, there's a link in the bio. You can click the thing. If you have the funds for it, awesome. If you do not, don't worry. Don't spend any money you don't have doing this. Just share this video or drop a comment or hit the little like button or something like that. That'll help enough. But if you do want to support the factory, also very cool. Okay, are you ready to see the rest of the plan? The membrane and screws are about another $7,000, which it's the same either way you do it because you need something on top. It is the layer that goes on top of the roof in either situation, and I have a piece of it right here. This is PVC roofing, just like a bucket. It's multiple layers. There's like kind of a sandwich of fibers and stuff in there. We're probably going to use TPO, which is a thermoplastic polyolefin, which is like flat wax. PVC is more expensive. It's the most expensive roof option that you can do. TPO is like 25% cheaper than that and offers much of the same benefits if you're not a restaurant. You have to run PVC if you have a restaurant because of the grease fumes from the extractor hood. It blows grease all over the building. We don't have that problem here. We're just making tiny trucks. So we're going to use TPO because it is cheaper. It's just as fast as PVC. We actually almost use this. It's called EPDM. It's basically like inner tube rubber. This is like the rubber rubber that you would have on like a bike tube. Also pond liner, a lot of people use it for pond liner. The problem is the labor on this is insane. You need to glue it all together. It takes a super long time. The adhesives cost a lot of money. And this is kind of antiquated. This has been around like 50, 60, 70 years. TPO has been around since the 80s. It's just newer stuff. The thing is though, is you need a specialized tool to do TPO. You have to weld it together with this rolling sort of heat gun pizza cutter thing. If you get it too hot, you burn through, and if you do it too cold, you have breaks in your weld and water comes back in. You can ruin the whole membrane doing it that way. This tool is about $10,000, which is a lot of money. Thankfully, we were able to borrow one. This is a $10,000 roof welder loaned to me by a friend. This is it. You plug it in. It has a big heat gun. It has this computer-controlled little speed control, and it just drives itself down the roof. This is actually the super cool part of this stuff, is that you just lap two pieces together. You just lay it over itself, and then it welds down, and it'll be that way for 20, 25, 30 years. Our roof here is about 30 years old. It's probably too long. That's the magic of this stuff. You don't need all this glue. You don't need all this seam tape. You just melt it together, and it makes a totally impervious surface that water can't get through. The weld is actually stronger than the material itself, and so the welds aren't what fails. It's the material. PVC and TPO, they don't like sun, which is a little ironic considering they're roofing materials, but the plasticizers leave the material and it gets all brittle. That's what happened to ours. You know, you can feel it. It's just different. You know, this is actually the reinforcing scrim inside of there. This is the part that you would normally have in the middle of the material is now on top because all the top part just went away. I don't know if you can hear that. It's just brittle, you know, compared to this. Soft, plasticky. So to catch back up to our big plan, we have to demo what's up there. It means tear everything off and throw it into dumpsters. And then we have to install the insulation if we do that. So remember our insulation here? Boom. And then on top of that, we install the membrane. And so that is this piece here goes on top of our roof there. Wonderful. So now we've chosen our materials, we have a design, and we hopefully have a way to pay for it. What's next? Who's going to do it? Who's going to put this on there? I have a crew of friends that help out for lots and lots of things. I've somehow convinced them to help me rip off parts of the roof and retarp and move buckets and cars and stuff around when they're not helping me build race cars and the Senpai and the Battlegate over that way. Roofing is just kind of another leap ahead. I mean, roofing is tough stuff. So of course in the plan here I have we do it, $0, which it's about 300 man hours to do, is my estimate, or we hired it out, which is another 15 grand. I think it's actually closer to 20 now, and that gets us to about $41,000 to $45,000. So the result is, if we pay for it all, about 10 to 15 years, it's warm, it's done, it's finished. The result here, maybe 2 to 6 years if we mess it up, some leaks. So somehow we managed to make our way through all of that, and we get all of that done. What's the point? What are we gonna do here? The final part of my plan, we make products. The whole point is to get a roof on this place so we can make products. We can't work in here until it's dry. It is super, super wet inside of the factory. So I've given myself just under a year to get a tiny truck produced out of here. But you remember that print line that's underneath the tarp getting leaked on right now? The thing over there with the, looks like a giant vinyl sausage? That is also a very high production print line. That is a UV Cure flatbed screen print line that can do 400 pieces per hour per machine. It doesn't only print like posters and signs and stuff. It can also print on wood and glass, metal. It can print on anything that you can get UV ink on. It'll cure it instantly. And so that is an awesome product line that we could use to make all kinds of stuff here at the factory, including graphics and appliques and custom bodywork for our truck that we can do here at the factory and do it ourselves. So that is my entire plan. We are going to continue regardless and fix the factory with whatever resources that we may or may not have. If you would like to be a part of that and support the factory, the link is in the bio, or if you don't want to, that's okay too. Plan A, Plan B. Wait. I forgot a huge part of the plan, which is what happens when you don't use a teleprompter, is what to do about YouTube. So I felt for a long time now that the YouTube production process is kind of broken. You can spend weeks and weeks making a video with tons of post-production, like 100 hours plus in my instance sometimes, and it just doesn't work. The direction YouTube is going in to me kind of feels like bad reality TV. You like tease an end, you have all this like fake drama and like fake stakes, and you have all these scripts and hooks and all this stuff. It's just doesn't really hold my attention anymore. I can't watch like really overproduced video. It just doesn't, maybe my attention span is broken. That's probably what it is. But I'm going to try something else on here. Starting April 27th, we are going to do a live show here at the factory every day, Monday to Friday. We're going to give it a shot for 30 days. And I'm just going to have a camera follow me around here at the factory and get stuff done. I just think that people, myself included, are just looking for something more real than all of these contrived YouTube videos and shorts and all this stuff that's just designed to get you hooked to it. I want to show you also how you put a business together like this, how you save a factory and all the little parts that come along the ways that don't really fit into like a perfect YouTube outline script. At the end of 30 days, we'll both know if it's working, if it's interesting to watch, and I enjoy making it. I'm sure it's going to be a lot of fun. There's so many things that I want to show you here at the factory that don't fit into a perfect little box, like a retention box. But don't worry if you're strictly a YouTube viewer, we're going to have our team also also edit up a weekly sort of summary of what happened then and probably cut some shorts too. So for a lot of viewers, I think the channel will look roughly the same. But if you'd like to hang out with us on the live and participate in it, we'll be on YouTube, Twitch, TikTok, I think. We'll be on all the platforms we can be on simultaneously. And you can see stuff unfold here live, literally minute by minute with no filter in between. See you Monday, April 27th on all platforms.